Alright, this is Calibos, and this would be Enigmatica 2. So, a little while back, an episode or two, we were making a quantum link chamber, and apparently I just completely forgot it. So, let's finish that up. We should be able to finish this. So let's see what we have in here. Maybe they're in here. Quantum. So we have 4 and 1. So we need 4 more of these. We just needed the logic processors, I think. Logic engineering. Which one's the logic? Are the logic gold? Let's pretend that we have some cobblestone. Let's also pretend that we are doing this. So, gold. I forgot how loud this was. Even with the sound muffler, it's pretty hardcore. So far, like, we've only put 1 stack in there. We've already ended up with more than a stack of gravel. And we've got capped up on flint. So nearly 2 stacks we've gotten out of 1 stack. And that's why some of these are like pretty awesome, because it probably bumps the output. And it would be even higher if we actually had the like dark steel or something like that. So because this only has 1 potential output, I think that's why this is faster. So we're just gonna cruise through and get it. Remember, this is only 1 stack of cobble that we've put through. Alright. So you could pull this out. Pop that in here. Oh, these are finished. Let's get some more redstone in there. Is there some redstone in here? There could be 1 or 2. So now we need to swap this out and throw down for some gold. Gold, and these would be logic, I think. Don't tell me I put it in here. So one of the things that I would like to accomplish is, and I'm not sure how much of it I'm going to do on camera or off camera. So we need, what, 4 of these, so 8, 7, 8. So what I may do is actually make use of the quantum rings. Now I'm not talking about making some crazy complicated AE system, because they can actually get really complicated, and I forget exactly. So if you have the controller can have, and we have a controller somewhere, I think. The controller can have basically if you're using the regular Fluix cable, that's this stuff. Smart cable, something like that. You can have 8 channels coming off a side of the controller. If you have the dense cable, that's 32 channels, and if you simply have a single block, then you have 32 times 6. And you're thinking, wow, that's a lot. But really, it's not. It goes super fast. You run out of things because, for example, if you are, having a sag mill, that's one channel. An alloy smelter, that's another channel. If you are having your molecular assemblers and, every device, every screen, every output, that's a single channel. And so it actually ends up going really, really, really dreadfully fast. But you're not actually limited to that because the controllers can actually be a multi-block. I think there's a limit, like they can't be bigger than I don't remember exactly what it is, but there's a limit of how big it can be, dimension-wise, and how the sides can be connected. And it pretty much leads you to a specific arrangement of and I think it ends up looking something like this. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. Oops. I think it ends up being shaped like this, but I could be wrong. And so the thing to remember is, if you're smart about your wiring, and I recommend color coding, this shape basically gives you millions of connections because you're talking about 32 off of each one of these faces, and 32 off of this face, and 32 off of that face, and 32 each off of, 32 here, 32 here, 32 here. And so you actually end up with, it's like thousands and thousands of channels, like 10,000 channels or something like that. I mean, I guess I could do the math, but it's really quite impressive what you can accomplish if you are determined. And that doesn't even go into the fact that you can make like mini networks. Like typically I will set up all of my my inscribers in like a mini network, and the only way they'll be connected is through a chest. I'll drop stuff in the chest, and then the inscribers will be set up in such a way that they'll automatically work through the process. So you can do a lot, and it's just so the channel system is not as limiting as you would expect. I just find it to be a pain in the ass to have to work through it. So I mean, I know what I'm doing. There are probably better things that I could be doing with my time. So anyway, I'm gonna show you this because we can. I'll just set up in the middle here. I'm not intending to use it really. And I hope that didn't, like, break it. Okay, good. So we want one of these. So that is a quantum link chamber, or a quantum ring, equipped with link chamber. So it does not power itself. You will actually have to power it. So if I connect this to that, it will have power. It'll draw it from the system. And wherever you build the other ring will also need power. And typically, you don't build them anywhere near each other. Maybe across dimensions or something like that. But it would need its own power supply. So as long as you have interdimensional power, like say through the power cells, or something along those lines, then it doesn't really matter. So to get them to work, so that's what these are for. So you may not be aware of it, or maybe you are, but so these are quantum entangled singularities. And basically what that means in real world terms is what happens to one happens exactly to the other. So if you could work out a system, you like Morse code or something like that, and you shake one of the molecules, you could send messages, effectively Morse code, vibrated along specific frequencies and transmit data. Because whatever happens to one happens to the other. And as far as we can tell, it happens at exactly the same moment, for all intents and purposes, instantaneously. Miles and miles or thousands of miles apart. And this is a real world thing, but, this use of it is not very real world. So you basically put the singularity in, and then you put this one in another one, say in a different cube or a different dimension or, somewhere else. And you power both rings, and the rings will act as if it's the same system. So whatever goes into one comes out the other. It's pretty cool, actually. And I may do something with that at some other point that is not now. But at least now you know what it's about. Just be aware that channels are preserved, and I seem to recall that it uses a channel as a device. It may not. Maybe you can just power it and it just works. But nothing is free. So we're going to swap these out for silicon while we're doing this, because we generally will need a lot of silicons, and so I am just building them up while we're waiting. Ah, yes, another cool, exciting thing. So, oops, where are they? Oh, I'm carrying it around. So I figured out how to make these. And again, I hate in-world crafting. So theoretically, we're supposed to be able to use torches and stuff like that too. There we go. So now, this is a light tunnel. It apparently switches. So interesting. So we managed to switch it to a light tunnel, but we might need to. Do I have a Certus wrench? Let's see if we can pop that up without changing it. So we now have light. So I think the redstone one is the same way. We can just do this. And then, boom, it's now a redstone one. So the only difficulty I encounter now is I don't know how to do that one. How are we moving power? How about a flux duct? Let's see if we can make a flux duct. Do we not have lead? Okay. Fine. And again, I would like to point out that this is a single stack of cobble. So we're definitely making progress. I'm going to toss some lead in there. And I think that we're actually going to make some glass at this point. Also, we need the pulverized lead and some pulverized obsidian later. Don't ask me why. I can't remember. I'm sure it's something important. So this should give us some glass. There we go. So we can just feed this through. Pick up some glass. Pick up the lead. Pop it all in here. So I'm hoping that this does it. But like I said, I was unable to find. Yeah, there we go. So it didn't specifically say what it was, but I guessed that it was some sort of power transmission one. So that's why we made the flux ducts, because they transfer power. So I was hoping that it would apply generally. So now we can just toss that in there. And yeah. So we'll grab the second loot chest because that's clearly the best one. Oh, it's an auxiliary reception coil. So we're almost done with applied energistics. So let's look at the view cell. So this requires a storage housing. Oh, well, this might actually be super easy. So just some redstone and we've got this. 1, 2, 3. So, except for the crystal in the middle, that housing is actually a standard recipe. Alright, we'll take the second one. Fleet upgrades. We probably will be using these later. I have plans that include an actual storage system. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to design it yet, but we'll see how it happens. So we'll chuck that in there. This can go in there. We can clear this. And we're going to toss that in there. So, last question A, box stuffer. So I'm not sure. It would be really cool if this was like a specific one and they gave you something inside of it. So we're actually going to set this up, if I can remember how, and try it out. But it is entirely possible that we are not so lucky. What does that need? Drive. So, Fluix. Okay, we can probably... So we need some what, glass? I wish this would stop clearing. Why is it doing that? I don't know. I have no idea. But it really annoys me. It's probably because it's JEI synchronized, actually. It's probably my fault. Drive. So this requires just any glass. Well, conveniently, we have some glass. So we'll clear that. Now we want some Fluix. Alright, so that'll give us some cables. Now we want some drives. And we need 2 of these. And then for these, oops. I've already forgotten what it was we were building. Spatial. One of these. We needed some more of the logic things. Alright, so now we need to do that. Need some more glass. We can arrange for glass. Well, we're arranging for glass. Let's arrange for some sand. Toss the lead in here. That gives us the spatial I/O port. Now we need 12 of these pylons. So these are going to require, so I'll need 48 of these quartz glass. So 12 craftings, 1, 2, okay, so we're going to make some more glass and some more surface quartz. Dust. So let's chuck a bunch more in here. So we're pretty much done with this session. I'd say we're about a minute out or something like that. But I'd like to finish this spatial thing, and so let's toss this in here. Yeah, see, if it only has a single output, it goes super fast. So we'll grab that, we'll grab some glass. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now we need some spatial. Oh, yeah, there it goes. So we need 12, so we need 24 flux dust. Flux. We'll just grind up 32. Like I said, it should go super fast. And we'll toss that in there for the moment. Oh my gosh. We're after those days where okay. So let's make a couple more of these. Go back to spatial. See, I can eventually learn how to spell it correctly. So that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I think it's basically set up like this, but it has been forever since I have done this. You know, honestly, let's call it here. I'm actually going to look it up to make sure I'm doing it correctly. And we're going to find out. We're actually just going to set it up, and then we're going to do some cool stuff with it. Well, we'll figure it out. So, yeah. Thanks for coming. You folks have a good night. I hope that if you liked it, you'd leave a like. If you don't like it, don't leave a like. Simple as that. Questions, comments, concerns can all go below. If you want me to do something or, you know, whatever, then talk to me and we'll see what can happen. All right. Have a good night.